Hey, welcome back, guys. 9 a.m. on Monday morning on the West Coast. Volatile start to the morning. Markets are down. The Dow's down 3% today. Nasdaq's outperforming to the upside, even though it's still down a percent and a half. And we're sitting there pretty much even, and we'll take it. We'll take it. So, got a little bump in DocuSign today, and man, that feels good. We were buying that thing down, and this stock was just could not get out of its own way for the last several sessions. So hopefully this will be the bump that we need in DocuSign. We got Tesla Battery Day coming up tomorrow. Kind of flash at the top. Amazon continues to struggle, down $2,900. 113 times is really pretty good price for Amazon. The big news of the day is this fake TikTok, Oracle, Walmart deal. I think that's part of the reason why there was two headlines that came out overnight, three headlines. The Nikola CEO has stepped down. Apparently that company is a fraud. We've talked about that. It's on the podcast. But that guy's in a lot of trouble. So Nikola is a fraud and is going down. There was also a FinCEN data dump, which is the financial crimes network, and they are basically saying that there's just a bunch of data that came out that is tying a bunch of money laundering together. So I think money laundering and tax evasion are one of the most rampant issues we have in our global economy, not just America. All over the planet, powerful people are hiding their money and they're not paying taxes. So I think we're seeing a record level of that, and that's what a lot of that Epstein stuff was. They were money launderers. Jeffrey Epstein was a money manager, and he was moving money for really powerful people. And in the process of that, they were extorting people over a bunch of foul stuff. But that was just part of it. A lot of it is money laundering, and they use real estate, they use cash, they use gold. They use Bitcoin. They use islands in the middle of the ocean that aren't regulated, that don't have any jurisdiction. Crazy stuff. But that came out last night, and that implicates a lot of American banks through North Korea and all over the place. So we saw the financial spider get hammered on that news today. So, pretty big failure on that. And look out below. I mean, that's another 10-12% possible in the financials. So that could be taking down the whole market. Let's just run through our scams, because that's what's running our world right now. There's a good chart you want to be a part of. Gap down and collapse. At least it didn't go through $20. There's a lot of people losing a lot of money in this, and the people losing money range from Robinhood traders all the way up to the GM or the CEO of GM, Mary Barra. If that lady doesn't get fired over this, I swear to God. I mean, they basically got sold a bill of goods. They got half this company exchanged for some stuff. Unless there's some IP angle that they're trying to break out and just steal from Nikola. They bought this company, and there's nothing there. It's just a big scam. And the CEO who stepped down today, he was extorted a few months ago. Basically, this guy was talking crap about him on social media, and Trevor Milton offered him $2,000 to shut up. And when the guy said yes, the guy, Milton, ratted this dude out to the cops, and the cops picked him up when he went to go get his money. And then Milton bailed his ass out, and then the guy died. So, immediately. So what do you think he was trying to rat on and tell people about? People out here are wild. It's gross. It's just gross. Tesla Battery Day tomorrow. We'll see how this goes. I think we're going to have a move through 450. I mean, it's not even a big call on Tesla anymore. I own the position in this portfolio, and I'm also long some out of the money calls in October. Uh, the 48500s, which are quite a bit away out of the money, but I actually had rolled up some 420, 435 call spreads that were a nice profit that I bought in another portfolio when the stock was trading around 360, I believe. I've been in that position for about 10 days. I opened that when I started to roll my other portfolios into what became this portfolio. So, I think we're going to test highs again. So I just bought those 48500s. And I think they were a couple bucks. But that doesn't matter. Different portfolio. We'll keep it focused here. Taylor Morrison getting crushed today. This doesn't seem like there's any real catalyst. A big gap down. This is a company that I really like, and around $24 is where I've wanted to be. So at 23 and change, it's looking juicy. Again, we're fully allocated now. We got $41 of buying power, and we have $40,000 of stock. We started at 41,700. So we started, I think, on the 15th or 16th of September. I think it was the 10th of September. So we're about 10, 11 days in. We've had 5 or 6 trading days. They've all been straight down every day. We haven't had a green day yet in the stock market. So since we opened this part of the portfolio up. So we're starting to get some equity in our positions. We're up on the day while the market's down, more than a full percent. The S&P's down 2%, and we're up. Like that's what we want all the time. And to me, that's quality. That's just owning quality, and that's owning the best of the best. No trades this morning. Just keeping an eye on everything. I wanted to check in. There goes that Fastly. It's definitely a growth-looking morning. It was kind of a growth-off open, and it looked kind of ugly. But there's some nice green across this. If I was going to get into a gaming stock, this is the one that I would get into. They bought Barstool, and they just rolled out the Barstool Sportsbook. And if you hop on Barstool Sportsbook Instagram, you can tell that it's a popular service. I think it's going to be one that I think Penn, DraftKings, and FanDuel, who's owned by another parent company, you're going to see those 3 companies really push for legalization of online gambling. It doesn't make sense to me why it's not legal. I used to like to gamble in sports. I really don't care anymore. I think the stock market is far more interesting. But one of the things that I always felt when I did like to sports gamble is that there was an opportunity to make it simpler for people. And I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of this online stuff, because it's just not very user-friendly, but there's a demand for people to bet on stuff that they're watching on TV. I think it's just the bottom line. So I think we're going to see that long term. And at the front of that, I think Penn's going to be great. They just got the Kramer blessing, so who knows? It could be a little crowded right now. But, I mean, it's a long-term move, them and DraftKings and Penn. But we'll see. The 5G trade continues to be strong. And this is going to be the chart that is going to dictate much of it. So Qualcomm right at the front of a lot of what's happening with the 5G rollout, and this is a critical level for it to avoid this kind of head and shoulders. So it's been a tough, tech has had a tough 10 days. So this is a pretty similar chart in a lot of the tech space, and this is an interesting company that I normally wouldn't touch. Again, there's somebody that I trust a lot who has a lot of faith in this company, so let's put it on my radar. Continue to kind of keep an eye on it, and it's been performing really well. It's one of the only growth stocks that pays a dividend. So if you want to get a couple points of dividend, it's that, and it's Taiwan Semi. Taiwan Semi makes all of the A12, A14, all the A chips that run the new iPhone and the new iPads and a lot of other generations of iPads. If you run this chart over Apple, it's pretty much in lockstep. I'm really interested in this pattern since July. I think we're ultimately going to have a big time breakout to new highs. I think it's just working through it right now. I'm pretty impressed with the new Apple line of products. I think that the iPads are going to be popular with kids not going back to school. You can get into them for $299, $399. You can spend all the way up to $1,500. The iPad Pro 12.9 with the keyboard. I mean, I priced that out. It's the price of a MacBook, and then you can get into the new Apple Airs for under $500, $600. So I think those are going to be pretty popular. I think the iPad normal is going to be popular. I think the watch was kind of a dud. I mean, it can take the blood oxygen level of your blood through your watch. I don't know what else. It feels weird to say it's disappointing because it's like they're evolving it, and they're just not evolving it in a way that I think is going to get people really fired up to go buy that Apple Watch. But they'll be buying that iPhone 12 and the 5G iPhone. You better believe that. And Apple's trading at 32 times. Taiwan Semi trades at 27 times. So you can get a little bit better value in Taiwan Semi. And they're more diversified. They also make the chip for Qualcomm Snapdragon modem. And they're licensing all of that tech from ARM, which is going to be bought by NVIDIA, which is our number one position. So obviously I really like the chip space. Tesla's still our most expensive stock in the money school, but I mean, I think humanity is just in such a desperate race to get off of fossil fuels that people are really excited, and there's a lot of pressure for them to deliver on Battery Day tomorrow. And I hope they do. I hope they do, not even for my portfolio or for my stock options, for humanity. We need some progress here on the battery side. Tesla is running a lithium-ion driven race, and Nikola is driving a different technology built on hydrogen fuel cell. So I think the distribution of lithium-ion makes more sense for commercial cars. Obviously, they know better than I do. I think GM's big play was to get the hydrogen fuel cell battery situation. I think they were hoping for some type of IP or tech that they were going to be able to take or steal. Maybe that's there, maybe it's not. But if you have a lithium-ion battery, that battery's heavy, and as you drive it, the charge goes down, and you have to carry around that heavy battery fuel source, even as your battery drains. And with a hydrogen fuel cell, the fuel source, as it burns, reduces the weight of the vehicle, so it becomes better for long distance, trucking and stuff like that. So, but then Tesla's also pushing those boundaries. They're also, running different battery packs in China already. So I don't think it will be just a lithium story for Tesla. And we'll see. We'll have a lot of details tomorrow. Before we sign off, let's hop into our sectors and just check here. Silver getting smacked. Oh no. So just what I'm seeing here by looking at these top 6 symbols is this is a risk off day. or risk on day. If we're taking silver, oil, industrials down, that money is likely going into growth. And then look at that. On the top side, we have cloud, internet, semiconductors. Even though they're not performing great, they're performing better relative to everything else. So, what's the VIX doing? It's weird to me that bonds are up and growth is up. We're getting these weird disconnections between like the bond market and the stock market of where things have historically moved together. This platform doesn't have futures, so VIX futures are harder to pull up. Quick note, this is actually going to roll over. This is the TD Ameritrade Mobile, and we're going to move over to TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim, which is what I usually use, but for the tablet version and for this particular account, it has taken a little extra to get it up and running over there. But yeah, we're up on the day. We're up $12. I'd rather be up $12 than be down 2%. Making a little comeback here. Down less than $1,000 from where we started, and considering the fact that the market has been, not to be childish, but poo-poo. I mean, the market has been bad. The market's been bad, and the headlines have all been negative, and it's been, this TikTok deal is really destabilizing for American interests. It needs to go away. It needs to go away, because the next step that's going to happen is the Chinese government's going to, Trump said he approved the deal on Saturday. The deal that came out this morning is not the same deal, and it's like not even close to the same deal. And China is saying they're not going to sign off on the deal that Trump said he's going to sign off on. They're still miles apart. It's just a weird situation. I think it sets a horrible precedent for the way that information technology is going to be exchanged. I don't think the market likes it at all. I think the market wants it to go away. It's clearly not a national security issue. It's not about that. So if that's the case, I think investors in technology just want the federal government to stop saying anything about it and stop interfering and trying to push deals and trying to, give Pentagon contracts based off of who we like, not versus who's most qualified for the service. They don't like that. Big money doesn't like that. They don't mess with it. So I think the stock market's kind of getting tired of this current situation with everything that's going on. I think they want some stability to be able to just plan some capital expenditure, which has been the point the whole time of cutting taxes and trying to get people to spend, which it just hasn't happened. So we'll see what happens, but we have a lot of stuff that's floating out there, and honestly, most of it's negative. So if we can get through some of it and have a little recovery, I still think that we could have a great bounce in all these indexes. Dow less so. Man, this is ugly in the SPY. And the reason why I say that in particular is this gap down action of, day to day gapping down and breaking down below a 50-day moving average is particularly negative. Like, we need to get this back above $345, call it $335. So we're $10-12 off of SPY, which is basically today's move and yesterday's move. We need to erase those before we test down another 10% and test this 200-day. Because if that becomes the case, the overhead resistance of the 50-day will be brutal to get back above on the other side. So pull some levers, push some buttons, do what you got to do, people. Print some money, flood the market, buy the dip. We've just kind of, our momentum has exhausted in some of our things, but I think we're fine. I think we're getting to a point where we're gonna make a move one way or the other. So 100 million shares of Apple have traded today. That's why they like stock splits, because the exchanges get paid on volume. So when you have your shares are worth a quarter of the amount and they trade 4 times as much, you make a lot more on fees. People scrambling to get out of Nikola. This penny stock stuff is hilarious. Watched that Wizard of Lies Bernie Madoff movie on HBO yesterday again. Man alive, what a psychopath that dude was. What a psycho. I think that's also got kind of not to the Epstein stuff, but when you get really powerful people connected with their money and their reputation, they will do anything to protect that. I mean, they will do anything. Like, that's the moral of that movie. All right, that's good for now. Let's not turn our losing streak around. Let's check in with our portfolio one more time. I mean, we got 8 up, 3 down, 11 positions. Little net benefit. We'll take it. If anything crazy happens today, I'll check back in. Most likely not, since we're just in manage mode. Keep an eye on those bottom positions today. They just feel a little... That move in Taylor Morrison is too much to the downside. I'm normally a buy the dipper, and I really like our girl Cheryl Palmer. But this is the kind of move that makes you feel like somebody out there knows something that we're not accounting for, because all the other news has been good. I own a real estate company. We have 15 brokers, and we're having our record month after record month after record month in housing. So still pretty confident in the housing numbers continuing to be strong. ITB kind of has the same action, but bouncing off of the 50. That needs to hold like $53. So we'll see. Gotta love these days where we're on moving average lines and we're at make it or break it points. So if I had to do anything, I would close my eyes and buy the dip. If you were more patient than I was, putting your positions on and you have some cash, I think now is probably a pretty decent time to start buying. I wish we would have put our full money in, but it's all good. You're never going to time the market on the way up or the way down. It's about owning quality positions, knowing what you own and why you own it, and then just managing. And that's the mode that we're in now, is managing. So I like where we're at with our core positions, with our, most of our weighting. And then we'll make some adjustments, and if we need to let some housing go and move that over to, we're pretty strong in cloud and chip and productivity and payments, which are my areas that I want to be in. But if we cut down some housing, we're going to lose our diversification there. They're not big positions in the portfolio anyways, but those moves today are a little concerning. But all right, have a good Monday, have a good week, and I'll check in with you guys soon.